All right, so let's take a look at the first one. We're rounding to the nearest hundredth. So I underline my hundredth place. This is a 7. This means this goes up 1. So it's 55 and 24 hundredths. I'm going to change this division problem to a multiplication problem. So that'd be 40 times m equals 4,400. And then it says, what am I going to multiply? So what would m equal? And m would equal 110. I would find that out by dividing it. All right, if you look at this, what is happening? In 20,013, it went in half. From 20,040 to 20,015, it went in half. So my pattern is divided by 2. So what is half of 120? That's 60. What is half of 60? That is 30. We're going to estimate first. So you could do whatever you wanted. If you wanted to change that to 34 and this to 30, your difference would be 4. I did it where it was 30 and 30. My difference is 0. So I know my answer is not going to be 0 because I can clearly see that it is this number is greater than this number, but I know it's going to be in the ones. So let's now subtract. I'm going to borrow. 12 minus 4 is 8. Borrow. 11 minus 9 is 2. Decimal. Borrow. 13 minus 9 is 4. So that is 4 and 28 hundredths. Wonderful. Okay, looking at number 5, I am going to change 60 quarts to gallons. Well, I know that gallons are bigger than quarts, so I'm going to have less gallons. So my answer for the first is there'll be fewer units because there are 4 quarts equal 1 gallon. Well, if this number is a 4 and now it goes to a 1, that tells me there's going to be fewer. How can I figure out how many quarts, how many gallons are in this? Well, I can just divide this by 4. 4 goes into 6 one time. 4 goes into 20, 15, or 5 times. My answer would be 15 gallons. All right, changing this, shading all but 1 hundredth. That'd be 99 hundredths. And I know my tenths is 10 times as big as my hundredths. All right, number 7. I am write 34,652 as a base 10 number. That is the same as a standard number. Standard. Same thing. Okay, what it's telling me is I kind of made this messy, but 25 minus 20, they want me to do this first and then multiply it by 6. That's what the bracket shows. And then I'm going to divide it by 3. So let's try that. 25 divided by 20 is 5 times 6 divided by 3. I'm doing what's in brackets still because they say do that first. 5 times 6 is 30 divided by 3. My answer would be 10. All right, number 9, I'm multiplying 2 digits by 2 digits. This is 45, 15, 27, 9, and now I'm adding 7, 16, 10, 2. 2,067. Is 50 prime or composite? It is composite. Why? Because 50 has more than 2 factors. If the factors are only 1 and its number and there are no other factors, it would be prime. Number 10, or 11, excuse me, and it is 10 to the 8th power. I'm writing it as repeated fraction. That's 10 times 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 10. Why? Because it's to the 8th power, so I have to write it 10 times, or 8 times. And then I need to write that many zeros, and that would be 100 million. All right. Number 12. Which shape shows a line of symmetry? Let's take a look. I see that this is not a line of symmetry when you fold it over. This is not a line of symmetry when you fold it over. This is not the same when you fold it over. A is the only one that is the same. So now I want to compare these two numbers. 8 is the same. 4 is greater than 1. I can stop and I know that the top number, 8 and 419, hundred or thousands is greater than 8 and 149 thousandths. Okay, it says is a non-equilateral isosceles triangle. Let me explain what this means. Non-equilateral. In the definition of an isosceles triangle, it says at least two sides are equal. So this is an isosceles triangle because there are two sides that are equal. Look, I'll put my little marks. And this is an isosceles triangle, but look, all of the sides, because it says at least. At least means there could be three. So what a non-equilateral triangle means, this is an equilateral, this is a non-equilateral triangle. It's not equilateral. Therefore, is this an regular or an irregular triangle? Well, to know that if it's a regular, that would mean all sides, all angles are the same, and I can clearly see all sides are not the same. So it would be irregular. All right, choose the numerical expression that represents subtracting 35 from 68 and then dividing it by a half. So this would be A. All right, we are back to our fractions. Pay close attention. We are now going to be able to change this 4 so that it equals 8. What am I going to do to 4 to get it to equal 8? Great, I'm going to multiply it by 2. Whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. 3 times 2 is 6. Now I'm ready to add 6 eighths plus 5 eighths is 11 eighths. I want to see how many wholes, so let's subtract. Let's do it different. What does this look like to you? This can also be a division problem, and I'm going to divide it to show you something. How many times can 8 go into 11? It can go in one whole time. And there are 3 left over. And then I can change the remainder into a fraction just by putting the remainder on top as the numerator, and the denominator is going to be the divisor because it takes 8 to equal a whole. So it's 1 and 3/8. That is another way of changing an improper fraction to a mixed number. If you have any questions, please let me know.